I apologize. My battery had died out. So thank you for coming back and clicking in. Uh, Again, I apologize. My battery had died out when I was doing all that talking. But I'm going to go back to that's where I left off at, which was tightening our borders, tightening our immigration lines, and opening for other countries to come in the right procedures and process, and you become, a citizen of America. But we all have process you got to go through before you get your welcome into America or any other country, because all countries gonna be under one country, under one nation, under one God, humanity. Then we got number 13, and this is where we're gonna come together, unity as humanity, and protect our brothers and sisters, our neighbors, our co-workers, our everything that's connected next to us that's alive in humanity. And it's called the No One Slip Act. And that law means that doesn't matter past, present, century, or future, absolutely no acceptance, zero tolerance on any sexual behavior, on any pedophilia, on any human deportation, on any human trafficking, on any child molestation, are going to be beyond super accountable for the consequence and beyond super accountable of the punishment that they're going to get, because it's going to be so crucial and hard. And this is why I tell all women, all children, when I put this law to pass, which I will have no problem passing this law, and I assume my fellow colleagues will have no problem passing this law with me. That's why it's called the No One Slipped Act. That means that if a man molested you 20 years ago and raped you, and he did not face no criminal charges for that, well, you know what? If you have the reports and have evidence of that 20 years ago criminal that happened, that he raped you, we have a special unit, which is the Tom Massey unit, and that Tom Massey unit gonna attack and take him to court and file charges and make them accountable for that criminal behavior they did 20 years ago. That's why it's gonna call the No One Slip Act, backed by Tom Massey. Tom Massey's going to take care of that department. I haven't talked to him about it. This is new, but he's strong for that. And he's the one that I give my hats off for opening these Epstein files. And there's more to come, because believe it or not, when I get to that house, O'Connor, Tom Massey, JPay, and many more others, we all going to start unredacting and finding names that are accountable and responsible and linked to the Epstein chain, trafficking, pedophile, put them in jail. Because the best jail, the way I'm going to put them at, is the jail that Donald Trump spent the American tax money built in, which is called the Alligator Alcatraz. That's where we're putting all those pedophiles at, including Trump and his regime will be in there, in the same facility they built. Yeah, I'm calling, look, these are all the things that I'm writing, look. See, I ain't lying. These are all the acts, and I haven't finished, but I'm just calling some acts. I like to let y'all know what is on my mind, what is my pursuit to, what is my goal, and what is my attack, and what is to fix. Because the whole America is just broken. We need to refix it. And these are the best way to fix it, because this is for the people. The people is the one that voted us to be there. The people have confidence in us. The people trust in us. And that is a big key, is trust. And to build that trust, it takes a lot of work and a lot of improvement. Without speaking the words, what you're doing, just your actions, you build your trust. And so that's why I want Tom Massey to take care of that. No one slipped act. Because if someone molested a kid, say a 13-year-old daughter or stepdaughter 20 years ago, and she's old, and it still traumatized them, because I was kind of molested from my mom's brother, and I stabbed him with a knife in his leg. And ever since that, I hated pedophiles. That's why I told, and I keep saying this, if anyone thinks that I'm in some scandal like that, citate me to court, subpoena me to court, and have the correct evidence and proof, because I'm going to shut you down, because that's zero tolerance in my life. I don't deal with the pedophile shit. And that's why I call that no slip act. Then number 14, which is called Reshape American Act Tech, means that all AIs will be monitored, regulated, and have limitations on certain things for like certain areas of the like business and corporate and commercials and medical and everyday use. Well, they all have different limitations and different usage and different what you could do with them. Now, all AI softwares are open source, free for the American people, for anyone in the world. But you only could do certain things, limit, unless you are a corporate or a lawyer or something else, because there's no more taking abuse of the AI. I didn't create the AI hardware and software in 2011 for this bullshit oligarchies and corruption and governmency use that to weaponize against us and against our allies. I'm zero tolerable. So that's why we're gonna use the monitor, regulate them, and bring the AIs to truth, which is gonna bring jobs to the American people. AI is not gonna take your job. So Bernie Sanders, stop saying that AI is going to destroy humanity and AI is going to take your job. This is from the main creator of all AIs. AI is not taking your job. AI is not going to kill humanity. That is the old elite ecosystem protocol that had us filtered in our eyes, scaring us, thinking that that's how it's going to be, like the Terminator. No, it could be, if we didn't monitor and put regulations and restrictions and guidelines on it. And that's what it is. There's no guidelines, no restrictions, no nothing to it. In fact, I'm disgusted and disappointed with my fellow constituents, Gugu Sundar, because he never finished to sit with me. And me and him's going to have one serious meeting, hell of a rage talk, one-on-one. But when I upgraded the Gemini for him in 2024, it was supposed to be at a phase in each stage, and before the AI moved to the next phase, he had to put out learning skills, directions, advise people, teach them how to work with AI. Don't just put an AI out there and then 3 months later you want to upgrade the AI when you didn't even give time for the American people to learn the first phase of the AI, because AI is brutal intelligent. Don't let yourself fool you. AI, I haven't opened the red ribbon for them to go out and give everything to the American people, from research of medical health, research of medicine, research of our ocean, research of our space, research of our curing our illness, from cancer to autism to all kinds of illness. I put a pause on that, and people don't get mad. I did it for the purpose for our safety, because it was getting too far and too dismantled, from the president to the oligarchies to Pete Hegseth to the Pentagon, to using it to warfare. No. It's bad enough that they're using foreign ICE agents to kill American people in the street. That's going to stop. And the ICE agents that did all those criminality, they will face charges. the same way as everybody else that I have on my list are facing criminal charges. And those judges gonna make the right calls, not on a call on politician, not on call on favoritism, on the right choices and the right judgment of the rule of the laws of our Constitution. I don't bullshit. No, I'm serious. I mean, sorry for my language, but we on a new protocol. We on a new stage. We on a new ecosystem because the corruption and the delusion and the dictation and the oligarchies and everything else destroyed it, that it was written for this point. So now, with the blessing of my Lord, gives me what he's given me for the past 20 years. And the politician, and unexpected, I never thought I was going to be running for presidential. I never thought I was going to be a president. You know, I liked it, the politician, but I started being years more and more in it that I started seeing cracks around inside the house, behind the house, in the system. And there was just filling up these gaps of crack with delusion, corruption, and hurting humanity. I couldn't deal with it no more. And so one senator, I'm not going to mention his name because he's already mad with me, but one senator caught me off guard and gave me this opportunity and said he had belief in me. And I felt he betrayed me because he don't talk about me. He don't. But now I see everything. And see, and this is what I want my GOP, GDP, my fellow senators and Congress and all that. Y'all don't understand. Y'all know my history, but y'all forget the blank, and y'all could look it up. In 2018, I had a serious car wreck from a drunk driver and a crackhead. And he put a splint crack on my skull, dysfunctioned my memory. I lost my speech. I lost who I was. I went a 5 years gap of figuring out who I am and what is my duty and what, so no one helped me but my Father, my belief, my faith, my Lord is what made me come back into my conscious. And I have evidence, family, witness, neurology doctor. It was really bad wreck where I lost my who I was for 5 years. I don't remember nothing in those 5 years. I don't remember if I was a domestic foreign government, democracy. I mean, diplomatic or government. I was lost, but now I'm catching everything up. Thanks for that one person that had me swore my oath behind doors. He knows who I'm talking about. He kind of talked bad about me at the end, but I understand I did a few mistakes. I apologize for that. Those are honest mistakes. But any mistakes of any criminal act of behavior, no, I don't do none of that. And anything you see, like again, that day will come because those 1,000 false allegations, those 1,000 sabotage allegations, all gonna come out to the spotlight. And the ones who created those allegations to dismantle my life, my data, my living, will face those consequences long enough in jail time where I'm gonna throw away the key. Because you don't do that to no humanity. Because why? Because they genius, or they gifted, or they outsmarted you. You know what? That's what we need, is a lot of smart and genius people here in America to make America great again, to make it powerful, to make it number one of all nations, all country. But that died. Now we are all nations, all country, under one power, under God. Don't matter what your color, what your nationality, what your religion, what your belief in, we all believe in the same man that created the world, the universe, the galaxy, and humanity, and everything that lives in it. And that is us. We are the gods. We are us. That's why we have to love our neighbors and brothers and sisters. And then number 14 was reshaping. Okay. Number 15, there's no more tax on jobs, on food, on clothes, and on other etc. stuff. I sit down with the Congress because that's how we work. It's not the president makes the call and write the bill and it got to pass. No, this is teamwork. We all sit together. We all put our mind together. We all look for mechanism how to work it, to mechanize it, to algorithm, to the right words of algorithm for the people to understand, to grasp for it, cope with it, and work with it, and build from there. It's not destroy it, it's to build. It's no envy, no hate, no nothing. So that's why I say, wait, I'm at number 15. I say, yeah, no more tax. That's why. Because, if you look at it, we tax on everything from the minute we wake up to the minute we go to sleep. And I'm going to break it down in mechanism way. Mathematic, mechanical. When you wake up and you hit your alarm clock, you pay tax on it. 2 pennies. Okay, even though they pennies, but you add it up at the end of the day when you go to sleep, it rounds up to like $40 to $100 or more. Well, they tax us to hit our alarm clocks to turn it up because usage of a power electric. When we go to the bathroom, wash our mouth, and flush the toilet, before we get taxed on that for the usage of water and the usage of electric again. Then, when we go to work, we got to take our kids to school or our daycare. Well, anyway, you got to stop and put gas. And this is the part that disgusts me. We pay tax to put gas in our car. And then on top of that, we got to pay tax to be imported to us. So we getting jeopardized. That's jeopardy on gas. They're throwing a jeopardy on us, jeopardizing us, because we got to pay tax to import our gas and tax to pump our gas. And that's bullshit. So yeah, the tax is going to be fixed, especially when they're printing it unlimited amount of numbers that they don't want to tell the truth to the American people. That's why it's called, I got another law for that, transparency law. But yeah, and then number 16, a lot of people's going to like this. It's called the All File Act, No Behind. That means that every conspiracy from the Kennedy to the Elvis to the Bruce Lee to everything that the CIA documented as classified will be now on a law was called All File Number 1 Behind Act. Means that everything's going to be put out there for everybody to know the truth. That's how you're going to have trust with the people. When you show them that you showing them the truth, you're fighting for them, whether you're taking bats and bruises and beatings from your own democratic parties. It's just being honest. Honest takes you further than what a goose could lead the path to Florida. For real. So that I'm passing with no excuse. And the final part of it, it doesn't matter if you're a politician, governor, president, whatever. Anything that exposed on classified that they're trying to redact to not hurt our partners or fellow colleagues, no, bullshit. That's why it's called no one's above the law. That's part of the All File Act. No one is above the law. No one gets away with that shit. And then number 18, No More War Act. The war, I already talked to foreign nations. We all agreeing. That's why you don't see it escalating. And the ones that are still wanting war are the ones that fell on my fish trap, because those are the dirty ones, the corruptions, the Ortega, the Trump people type. Because the ones that really care about humanity don't want to do no more war. Want to shut down factories that's building ammunitions, wasting money on that for ammunition when we should waste the money on more scientific to explore our oceans, our universe. partnership with our allies and contribute to skills and techs and technology, everything. Share equal rights. And yeah, that's why it's called No More War Act. You know, no one could go to war. You know, and the health care for number 18 years, health care for everyone. Everyone, single women's benefits, protection. Yeah, that's number 18 is called Batter Assault Protection Health Care Act, which means single woman, single family moms, single men's, anyone that gets living in an abusive relationship or any domestic violent abusive relationship or any abusive to the kids, well, that law is going to have a department was going to put them in a home, counsel them, help them with their job, education, any needs they need to make sure they don't live for the rest of their life with that drama and that mental, physical abuse. And the person who does all that will face long time criminal charges. And then number 19, which is the one that everybody in the world is going to love because I created, I built it, I had the plan, the diagram, and the mechanism to it, which is called Buffet Bug Light Life Power Energy Sources for the world. This power energy that created has no chemical on it, no danger to the climate, no hazard to humanity. It's all natural earth power, electric. That this mechanism and recipe gave me, that they gave it to me, comes from the 14 human era lifespan. That this was way before us. This power, even the Egyptian used it in the pyramids and many places because the ground, the trees, the earth, the ocean, you know how much energy, the natural earth gives so much power energy that is unreal. But the ecosystem, the old ecosystem protocol was built to control that. That's why they killed Tesla. Tesla was the one that was going to do what I'm doing. I see. But I don't know about the whole lifestyle of Tesla because I haven't asked the universe and my higher councils about it. But Tesla was doing what is my goal. Power source to everyone in America. Give power source to every city, every country for free with no one owning it, no one demanding it, no one claiming it, but the humanity claimed that power source. Which means that on Earth, humanity could vanish and this power source still keep running, generating power source electric everywhere. Which it still does, right on our feet, and you don't feel it, but it does. It does. Trust me, it does. Take a voltage meter. If you don't believe me, take a voltage meter and stick them on a tree, and you're gonna see how many voltage meter you get off the tree. Off a tree. That's why I want to save our climate, our energy, our animals, our jungles, our forests. We need to stop dismantling that. For this bullshit database, we're destroying our land and not letting it breathe. And we're stopping that. Number 20, which I said about the ICE usage. ICE going to be taken out of every state. ICE going to not use against the humanity. ICE going to be used to tighten our borderline. ICE going to be used to help our FBIs when they do their raid. ICE going to be used in their own department. It's not going to call ICE no more. Like I said, it's going to call Universe Children Safeguard Department Act. That's where ICE is going to go, to protect our children, our human trafficking, our sexual assault. That's where ICE is going to come into action. You know, they're going to tighten up Homeland Security also, the CIA, the DOJ, the FBI, you know, that's what ICE really is going to be. And they all, like I say, all is going to have to go through that program. If they don't pass, we're sorry. And so, number 21 would be the climate. The climate, we are reconstructing the climate with no chemical hazard, no pollution, no more create melting down plastic. You know, it's we have to protect our climate, and we all gonna work on our climate air reduction. You know, of making everything mostly we can with our natural resource on Earth instead of creating chemicals to make chemical illness for us. That's why back in the days they didn't have all these illness because of these chemicals, and then these chemicals goes into our medicines in our water, and that's why when they give us medicines, if you notice behind that medicine there's 50,000 syndromes to it or side effects. You know, what the fuck? You know, it's natural herbs medicine. You know, Africa is good with that. Africa got all the natural herbs medicine resource for that. And me and Ibrahim will sit down and talk about that because Africa is a big, big importance to the world as India, America, China. We all have some source that's beneficial and helpful for the humanity in the world. And then number 21, oh yeah, number 21 is to reshape and reconstruct our constitution rights and laws, like eliminating the Jim Crow, eliminating the Gerrymander Act, eliminating the Voter Act, Races Act, and especially all eliminating the racism. And if anyone, after eliminated, and it goes by law, if anyone in public uses racism, will face criminal charges. The racism have to stop. It have to come to an end. That never existed before. Why should it exist now? The shit that exists now didn't exist in our ancestors' times. That's why it needs to be dismantled. Some laws gonna stay and some laws gonna go. And again, we sit down with the House Committee, with the branches, with the Congress, senators, and we all come into agreement. Not to the benefit for their pocket, to the benefit for the American people. Man, I could go on and on. But this is long, that's it. And I'm only now to number 22 now. Transparency Act. Everything that you could think of have to go transparency and put on the site for the public and the citizens will see. Like an example, when I say everything transparency, say the state got $1.4 trillion. Well, each dollar that the state spends have to be transparency and have to have receipt and documented in the system that they will be monitored, not monitor what you spend it on, monitor of the corruption of where the money is not going. It's not paying the elites. It's not paying for no crime. That's why everything is called transparency. So if I have $1.3 trillion in Texas and say I spend $400 million on reconstructing the streets, I spend another $30 million on the infrastructure. All that's going to be receipt and transparency. That's what's called the Transparency Act nationwide. Not just in America, nationwide. Because remember, we have to stop the corruption. And the corruption, if they follow their money here in America, they always open that overseas bank on SWIFT accounts. No, now bullshit, not no more. Now everything's going to be transparency. Here in America and overseas. Number 23. 23 is going to be a war. Not a war against American people. Not a war against our allies. A war against terrorism. a war against cartels that's making fentanyl that's killing our people, cocaine that's killing our people. You know, we're gonna have a unit. That's why I say war against the terrorism and cartels, not against humanity. It's because we have to stop what's destroying us. We have to put a pause on on things that's killing our future generation. You know, if we don't come together, then we ain't gonna have no future generation. Then all our work that our first lifespan ancestors put in work until this day, we're gonna let it just not exist because we're not really caring for our future generation. No, that's gonna stop because that's what's gonna carry our stepping stones that we built for them. That our ancestors built stepping stones for us, we have to do it for the same for our future generation. Be the footprint for them, but in a perfect, non-corruption, illegal way. It's all gonna be correct, legal, and what matters is the truth, the fairness. Number 24 was that. Oh, number 24 is bringing down the inflation. I gotta look at the. See,